Takashi trudged home, shoulders slumped. Another late night at the office. The city lights blurred, cold and indifferent. Then he saw her, a young woman huddled on a bench. Just a kid, really. What was she doing out here at this hour?
Mind your own business, Takashi.
But something about her posture, the way her shoulders trembled, tugged at his heart. He couldn't just walk away. Not tonight. He slowed his pace, glancing at her as he neared. Her face was hidden beneath a dark woolen cap, but he could see the sharp outline of her cheekbones, the way her small frame seemed to shrink even further into herself. A wave of protectiveness, unexpected and strong, washed over him.
Excuse me.
He called out, his voice hesitant in the stillness of the night. The girl didn't react. He tried again, stepping closer.
Are you all right?
The girl flinched, her head snapping up. Her eyes, wide and wary, met his. Takashi felt a pang of sympathy. She was just a child, lost and alone.
I'm fine.
She mumbled, her voice barely a whisper. She pulled her thin jacket tighter, as if trying to disappear inside it. Takashi didn't believe her for a second. He could see the exhaustion etched on her face, the way her fingers nervously twisted the strap of her backpack. He knew what it was like to feel lost in this city, swallowed whole by its indifference.
It's late. Is someone expecting you? Do you need to call someone?
The girl shook her head, her gaze darting away. He saw a flash of fear, of raw vulnerability that made his chest ache. He wanted to help, but he didn't want to frighten her further. Silence settled between them, heavy and uncomfortable. Takashi shifted from one foot to the other, unsure of what to say. He couldn't leave her here, not like this. But how could he help someone who clearly didn't want his help?
Look, my apartment is just a few blocks from here. You're welcome to stay there for the night. It's warm and safe. I'll sleep on the couch.
The girl looked up at him, her eyes wide with suspicion. He could see the questions swirling behind them. Why would he offer such a thing? What did he want from her?
I'm not looking for trouble. I just want to help. You're too young to be out here alone, especially on a night like this.
The girl hesitated, her gaze flickering between Takashi and the dark emptiness of the park. He could see the internal battle raging within her, the pull between fear and exhaustion. He held his breath, hoping against hope that she would choose trust.
What's your name?
She asked finally, her voice barely audible. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Takashi.
He replied, a small smile touching his lips.
Aya, S1, and you are?
She murmured, her voice gaining a sliver of strength. She looked down at her hands, picking at a loose thread on her backpack. Takashi waited patiently, letting the silence settle around them. He knew that pushing her wouldn't help. Trust, especially for someone as guarded as Aya, had to be given freely.
Okay.
Aya said, finally, her voice barely a whisper. She looked up at him, her eyes still wary but with a flicker of something akin to hope.
Just for tonight.
Relief washed over Takashi. He hadn't realized how tightly he'd been holding his breath. He offered her a reassuring smile.
Of course, just for tonight.
They walked in silence towards Takashi's apartment, the city lights seeming a little less cold, the night air a little less harsh. He didn't push her to talk, sensing that words weren't what she needed right now. Sometimes, the greatest kindness lay in simply offering a safe haven, a moment of quiet companionship. As they walked, Takashi couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter, this small act of kindness, had set in motion something profound. He couldn't know what the future held for him or for Aya, but he knew, with a certainty that surprised him, that their lives would never be quite the same again. The warmth of Takashi's apartment enveloped Aya like a comforting embrace. She sank onto the worn sofa, feeling the tension drain from her muscles. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she allowed herself to relax, to simply be. Takashi busied himself in the kitchen making tea. The quiet clinking of cups, the soft hum of the kettle, filled the silence with a sense of normalcy that calmed her frayed nerves. She watched him from her spot on the sofa, struck by the quiet strength he exuded, the kindness that shone from his eyes. He handed her a steaming mug, their fingers brushing for a fleeting moment. The warmth of the tea spread through her, chasing away the lingering chill of the night. She took a sip, the familiar taste surprisingly comforting.
Thank you.
She whispered, her voice thick with emotion. It was a simple expression of gratitude, but for Aya it held a world of meaning. It was a thank you for seeing her, for hearing her unspoken plea for help, for offering her a safe harbor in the storm. As the night deepened and the city outside slowly settled into slumber, Aya knew that this was not just a night of unexpected kindness. It was the start of something new, a fragile bud of hope blossoming in the most unexpected of places.